Please be seated. Before we begin, some quick announcements. Please silence your phones, watches, iPads, or any other devices that beep, chirp, make funny noises, or anything like that. Might be a little distracting. Thank you. The ceremony will last about an hour and a half. Please avoid getting up and walking the aisles during the ceremonies because that may disturb others. With those formalities aside, please relax and enjoy. Welcome, family, friends, faculty, guests, alumni, and graduates to the 2021 Convocation for the Masters of Public Administration program at the Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs at Syracuse University. I'm Associate Dean Bob Bifulco, Chair of the Department of Public Administration and International Affairs, and it is my honor to welcome you here today. I acknowledge with respect the Onondaga Nation, firekeepers of the Haudenosaunee, the indigenous people on whose ancestral land Syracuse University now stands. So students, you may remember that it was exactly 361 days ago today, July 2nd, 2020, when most of us met for the first time, virtually, for the MPA colloquium. As you might remember, we told you that day to be prepared because before you know it, you'll be sitting in Hendricks Chapel with your friends and family getting ready to graduate from the Maxwell School. At that time, we weren't sure it was going to be in Hendricks Chapel, but I'm glad that it is. Well, that day has arrived, probably faster than most of you expected and maybe faster than you wanted. A year ago, you joined the Maxwell School from all parts of the United States and 14 other countries, each of which is represented by one of the flags on the wall behind me. Today you are here or watching via live stream as the Maxwell MPA graduating class of 2021. Every year at graduation, I tell the students, I know it's been a challenging year. However, this year, that statement really takes on a whole new meaning. In the typical year, the program's a challenging one, right? As the students know, and I'm sure their friends and family have heard multiple times, this program goes nonstop year-round, right? The longest time you have between when one class ends and the next one begins is usually Saturday and Sunday, and that's if you're lucky. We on the faculty see it as our sacred duty to load students up with long reading lists, homework assignments, papers, presentations, and the dreaded group projects. But this year, layered on that, right, were all the complications that have come with the pandemic. Weekly COVID testing, social distancing protocols, and of course, masks. Faculty and students have all learned the challenges of teleconferencing. Everyone mute your microphones while the instructor speaks, then unmute it if you need to speak. Does the instructor need to mute or unmute? Wait a minute, I still can't hear my classmates. And of course, we've seen "you're still muted" become the most spoken phrase in the English language. A bit more seriously, though, the pandemic brought with it a lot of uncertainty and worry. Worry about health and safety of family and friends, uncertainty about whether we can travel, when we can visit loved ones again, how to conduct our social lives, how to search for jobs in a world without in-person contact. Through all of this, the faculty and staff at Maxwell have been absolutely committed to see that students have as high quality an experience as possible and that they are able to accomplish what they came here to do. And I know you, the students, have been committed to those goals as well, and your efforts have helped make that possible. So despite the obstacles, you have learned to speak with authority and confidence in front of groups large and small. You have prepared some of the most dynamic PowerPoint presentations and flexible spreadsheet budgets the world has ever seen. You have developed ways to succinctly explain even the most complex problems and solutions to a person lucky enough to spend a few minutes in an elevator with you. And now you can actually spend some time in an elevator with someone. You have learned a new language during your time here. For example, you can spot a lurking variable in any analysis someone presents to you. And you can estimate the price elasticity of everything from grain in sub-Saharan Africa to a beer at your favorite night spot. Finally, you can say with 99% confidence that Maxwell MPAs are significantly higher performing than graduates of other MPA programs. While it's easy to make fun of the esoteric language we have learned, the faculty here have been committed to maintaining a rigorous program despite the challenges because of one overarching goal that I know each of you share, that regardless of where your professional journey takes you, you will contribute in service to others. We hope that we have provided you with the knowledge and skills to make that contribution. By providing service to others, you will put into practice the words of the Athenian oath that we will all recite at the close of this ceremony. If we have done our job well, this year, the perspectives that we have offered, the blending of statistics, economics, management, budgeting, policy, and politics, right, will serve you well and help you to take on the challenges you face with the force of reason as well as passion. It is our custom to have a graduating student offer a greeting to our guests on behalf of the class. Will Brandy Effian please come to the stage? First, a few words about Brandy. She realized her passion for service at a young age. While in high school, she worked in the Evanston Young Adult Department along with the mayor and chief of police. There, she assisted in developing programming that supported at-risk youth with their personal and professional development. Brandy continued down this civic path, working for the Children's Defense Fund, as well as serving as the chair of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee for the Mudlark Theater. She also oversaw the implementation of programming designed to support youth and their families at Youth and Opportunity United in Evanston. And so we're very glad that she was able to join us this year. Brandy?
Thank you, Dr. Bifocal. I want to thank the network of people that have supported all of us through one of the most challenging yet exciting times. A special thank you to the faculty and staff at Maxwell. Thank you for your commitment to helping us show up to every space as our best selves. Thank you for finding innovative ways to celebrate us every step of the way. And thank you for the countless hours on Zoom where you patiently listen to us express fears about what the future holds. Resilience and perseverance. This is what comes to mind when I think about our cohort. Although each academic year comes with its own set of challenges, this year was very unique. Our commitment to public service in our communities were tested in ways that we would have never imagined. While embarking on this new grad school journey, we were forced to live and survive in unprecedented times. We were forced to explore uncharted territory and blaze a new trail using resources that were only once applicable to a particular way of living. Failing forward became our way of living. We developed innovative spirits, finding new ways to build community and excel in unconventional ways. We were forced to think through the implications of society's most pressing issues with little research to guide our thoughts. A time that forced us to reach a new level of patience, transparency, and willpower. A period that did not allow us to live the lifestyle many of us knew best. The lifestyle where a warm smile or a simple embrace could put our fears to rest. But we made it. We persevered, developed a profound amount of grit, and pushed past our fears and self-doubt. So welcome. Welcome to the most beautiful ending of a chapter. Welcome to the beginning of a new chapter, one where each of us will make a mark, a unique one. So to my colleagues, esteemed faculty and staff, Maxwell trustees, families, and friends, it is my absolute honor to welcome all of you to the 2021 MPA Convocation. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandy. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the Dean of the Maxwell School, David Van Slyke. Dean Van Slyke is the former chair of the Public Administration International Affairs Department, He is also a tenured full professor at Maxwell and a two-time recipient of the Burkhead Award and Professorship for Teaching Excellence. He also holds the Louis A. Bantle Chair in Business and Government Policy. He has been on the Maxwell faculty since 2004 and began serving as a Maxwell School's Dean in 2016. Dean Van Slyke is a leading international expert on public-private partnerships, public sector contracting, and policy implementation. He is director of the National Academy of Public Administration and co-editor of the Journal of Public Administration Research and Theory. He has provided expert guidance to the Office of Management and Budget, the Government Accountability Office, the U.S. Coast Guard, and the World Bank, and has worked extensively with leaders in China, India, Peru, Singapore, Thailand, and other countries. We're very fortunate to have him at the helm. David?
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the event you thought might never come, the Maxwell School Masters of Public Administration Convocation. And thank you to Dr. Gupta and Mr. Frank Williams for being a part of today's ceremony. While you have heard so many individuals comment on the challenges of the past year, I want to thank you for the enthusiasm that you brought to your studies, finding ways to build relationships, to engage one another, and how you showed a generosity of spirit to one another through many difficult times. I appreciate the different stories I've heard of your class demonstrating not only resilience and hard work, but for the empathy that you've shown so many others. We all know you care deeply about the world, and it's because you care. You see through many of the falsehoods that limit and distort our society, our economy, and our body politic. You've witnessed firsthand the erosion of trust in democratic institutions, in science, and in our collective humanity. And you see a world struggling to address the structural and moral failings of the past. But you've chosen to do something about it. You chose engaged citizenship over cynicism. You chose to listen, to learn. You chose to think critically rather than limit the voices in your own networks. You chose to hear different perspectives. You chose to understand context while focusing on solutions. You, graduates, are our solution. I also want to acknowledge and thank our public administration and international affairs faculty. As you've noted, they display extraordinary dedication to your success and the success of the program. And to Associate Dean and Chair, Professor Bob Bifocco, who has provided tremendous leadership of this important and top-ranked department. You know, one of the things I know that you understand, but maybe didn't have as full of a chance this year to take advantage of, is one of the things that makes the Maxwell School so different from any other school, and that's in respect to our role and mission. We're a school committed to public administration, policy, and public service, but within a school of social sciences, with a deep commitment to interdisciplinary scholarship and teaching, coupled with engaged citizenship. Our history, our success, and our commitment to this approach is integral to attracting and educating outstanding students like Frank and Indu, who go on to become leaders that serve citizens and advance the public dimensions of each of our lives. The faculty work hard every day on linking their interdisciplinary teaching, scholarship, and engagement in public service so that each of you had the opportunity to experience a high-quality program. That integration is critical because we, and each of you, play an important role in putting governance and policy scholarship into action. But in addition to our faculty, the Maxwell staff are critical to your success. And just like the faculty, they are a part of a team, a culture that is committed to your success, to supporting you and celebrating your achievements and the differences each of you is going to make in the lives of others and the work of the institutions that you're a part of. Maxwell is a large and complex organization, and our faculty and staff are integral to making this place operate in a student-centered way. They stand by you now, but importantly, in the future as well. And we share such a great sense of pride in your achievements on this special and happy occasion. And so I want to thank you, our graduates, for making the decision to invest in strengthening our nation and many other nations around the world. We respect and value your work on behalf of public, nonprofit, and private organizations that are committed to making a positive difference in the lives of others. Your desire to give back in a variety of ways and the public responsibilities that you take on, both professionally and philanthropically, through your volunteerism and giving, are deeply important contributions to advance our different societies. At Maxwell and as Maxwell and Syracuse University graduates, you will lead us toward a more just and inclusive future. You will put your expertise into practice. You will do work that benefits others and in return benefits us all. You will bring people together and embrace productive debate. You will lead with facts, make evidence-based decisions, and help others understand why that matters so much. Soon you'll be catapulted into the world. Don't back down. Don't make excuses or cite obstacles to doing the right things. It won't always be easy, but the right thing, the ethical, moral, and compassionate thing is what we need most of all. And when you feel challenged, rely on your Maxwell and Syracuse Alumni Network, and I can guarantee you that they'll be there to support you. Maxwell has a broad reach, and its present and past faculty and staff, along with our more than 35,000 alumni in 147 countries, form a powerful worldwide network. When you entered Maxwell, you became part of the ever-expanding family, and there are generations of alumni to help guide you. Learn from this network, cherish it, contribute to it whenever possible. And on Monday, another class will enter, and they and Maxwell will need your support in the future. There are 4 things that I ask every Maxwell graduate to do, and they are things you can do that we need you to do immediately, starting today, tomorrow, and next week. The first is refer great prospective students to Maxwell, both for their graduate and their undergraduate educations. Help Maxwell students access the Alumni Network for internships and job opportunities at the great organizations where you'll be working and volunteering. Stay in touch with us and brag. Brag about yourself. Even when you think it demonstrates a lack of humility, we want you to tell us how well you're doing, what you're doing, where you're doing it. Believe me, not only is Maxwell's reputation elevated by your work and success, but we, the faculty and staff, it brings such a smile to our face to know that you're out there doing what you had hoped and intended to do. We celebrate your news widely in our communications. And then finally, and you knew it was coming because I'm a dean and I have to tell you this, please make Maxwell a philanthropic priority in your life. Among the many organizations that you may choose to support with your charitable giving, I can tell you, as an extremely frugal person, Maxwell is worthy of your investment in generosity. As dean, I can promise you, at least while I'm dean, right, that every gift is important to Maxwell's success, and we will use your support well. It is my privilege to congratulate you, your families, your friends, all your loved ones in your support network on your achievements here. And we know it's just the start of your many contributions to society, to the school, and to Syracuse University in the future. So please take care of yourself first and foremost, then come back, tell us how you've helped change the world for the better, because we know you will, and congratulations to all of you. Thank you for being a part of the Maxwell School.
Thank you, Dean Van Slyke. It's now my privilege to introduce to you your Convocation keynote speaker. Dr. Indu Gupta is the Commissioner of Health for Onondaga County. She completed her medical degree in India, her Master's of Arts in Public Administration, and Certificate of Advanced Study in Health Services Management and Policy here at the Maxwell School. And she also has a Master's of Public Health from Johns Hopkins University. In addition to serving in her current role as Onondaga County Commissioner of Health, Dr. Gupta has been a practicing physician and a faculty member at the University of California, Los Angeles. She is the president of the New York State Association of County Health Officials and serves on boards and advisory committees for numerous state and local health organizations. Since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, she has been leading efforts to protect the health of the community residents and is currently leading a very successful COVID-19 mass vaccination campaign by the County Health Department, and we can really thank her for being able to do this here today. And she's been working very hard and collaboratively with community leaders to ensure that there are no barriers to vaccination in Onondaga County. And she's received recognition from several local groups for her dedication to public service during this last very difficult year. Dr. Gupta?
Good morning, esteemed faculty, honored guests, parents, and outstanding MPA class of 2021. Congratulations to you all for a job well done in the middle of COVID-19 pandemic. My heartfelt appreciation for the faculty and parents' guidance and commitment throughout each student's journey, especially in these challenging times. Thank you, Dean Slyke and Associated Dean Bifalco, for inviting me to share this great day with you at the Maxwell School. Graduates, you are the future leaders who will make an imprint on society in your respective communities and one day at the local, state, national, and hopeful at the international level. How many of you thought we will be here in person today to celebrate your accomplishment with big smiles and cheers I can see from here? I certainly did not. Thanks to COVID-19 vaccination, it became possible. The worst pandemic of the last 100 years have tested our character, patience, strength, endurance, and resilience. The entire world went through an intense stress test with devastation of disease, impacting every aspect of society. COVID-19 caused harm to our physical, emotional, and social well-being, which is a World Health Organization's definition of health. Entire countries were shut down, including here at home, and some of them are still dealing with it as pandemic continues to rage there. However, in these dark times, all was not lost. Hope. The hope started with people like you, as everyone supported each other, neighborhoods and communities. After initial faltering and chaos caused by this unexpected storm, the world banded together with a common goal: to defeat this virus and take our lives back. This was, and it still remains, a global public health crisis. Crisis tests our skills, character, and leadership and brings out the best in us. Whether you're a student, a teacher, a community leader, business owner, support staff, or a parent, all of us were called on to do public service in some shape or form during this crisis. Besides the difficult work done by the essential workers, everyone got engaged in supporting each other, whether the support was for the family member, friend, co-worker, neighbor, or even a stranger. The devastation of virus brought people together because never before was goal so clear. How can we survive this virus? What tools do we have, and how do we use them wisely? This intense quest led people from all disciplines and aspects of society to work collaboratively and support each other in the name of public service. Many limit public service to the government services, but I think you know by now that is not true. And you also should look at the mission, I hope you did, a Maxwell School's MPA program, and I would remind you as quote, "We believe public service means using one's abilities and opportunities to contribute to the broad public good across levels of government and with nonprofit and for-profit organizations, nationally and internationally, and may I add that locally." Lesson learned during these challenging times will be impactful in your lives. And when you look back 5 or 20 years from now, you will have many stories to tell with emotions of sadness, happiness, remorse, and pride based on your own unique experiences during this time and how it influenced many things in your lives later on. I could call this an unexpected great opportunity of lifetime, learning amid chaos. So reflecting back, I would like to share some of my life lessons with you. As you heard Dean said that I came to United States right after finishing my medical school in India. During my postgraduate medical training in internal medicine in New Jersey in late 80s, I found myself in the midst of a raging HIV/AIDS pandemic. There was hopelessness and devastation in the gay community. It took several years to have fair public policies to protect and improve health of those suffering from HIV/AIDS. I still remember pain, fear, and hopelessness in my patients' eyes. Treatment was very limited, and I did what I could at that time as a doctor and provided the best possible care available to my patient. I had no concept of public policy or advocacy at that time. Later, I learned that many people throughout the United States were intensely engaged in advocacy and changing of public policy for LGBTQ community with one goal in mind, to save lives, and it worked. So I learned 2 lessons from these experiences. First, you do what you can in that moment, and that is okay. And second was, in advocacy and public policy, persistence prevails. I took them to my heart for the future. Years went by. I continued to take care of patients from various walks of life in my private practice of medicine as their primary care doctor. And to my dismay, continued to see more and more inequities in our society, in our healthcare system, due to poverty, race and ethnicity, sexual orientation, language, disability, nationality, and the list was long. I was disheartened, but neither deterred nor defeated. So my quest for learning and problem solving brought me right here to Maxwell first, and then later to Johns Hopkins. Like you, I was sitting here, and I thought I could change the world. Soon I learned this is not that easy. After I closed my thriving private practice of many years to follow my passion for health equity, I wondered, did I make a mistake? But I had no choice. I had to stay focused. So I could tell you today that if I did not take that chance, I won't be here today. So third lesson I learned was I could dream big, following my passion, take risks, but I have to be a doer and stay focused to get there. So several years later, when I became Commissioner of Health for Onondaga County, I never dreamt that in 2020, I would be leading our community through the worst pandemic of the last 100 years. It has surfaced all those weaknesses of our healthcare system that I had felt 20 years ago as a young doctor. I learned very early on that many healthcare organizations, and of course outside of health systems too, operate in silos. As a result, not able to address many inequities in our society. Only if they collaborate and complement each other with the mutual interest and respect for each other, they can start making a dent in many of the inequities in our respective communities. So fourth lesson I learned, we means people, organizations, and system are interdependent, not independent. They are not mutually exclusive, they are complementary to each other. We can solve problems efficiently and effectively by working together, and that's truly a good business proposition. Good public policy will always take into consideration cost and benefit analysis for long-term sustainability. So I had followed these and many other lessons during my tenure working as the Commissioner of Health of Onondaga County before, during the pandemic, and will continue to do so after this is over to keep me ready for whatever comes next. So even before the first case of COVID-19 was diagnosed in our county, getting ready for storm was critical. Even though we had done many practices, drills for the public health crisis simulation in the past to go through this sort of a crisis, I realized the lesson from my past experiences kept me focused, driven, team builder, result-oriented, collaborative, and accepting of less than optimal results at times, as long as we were on the right path. And we know now that we were. Remember the fact, no one wants crisis, but when it happens, we learn something new about ourselves, our strength, our weaknesses, and our resiliency. And that is very important for leadership. The year 2020 was full of contradictions for everyone, from misery and isolation, fear of unknown and impending doom, death and despair and loss of jobs and home, to triumph of science and research and ultimate hope with the vaccine. It has been truly a whirlwind. I'm humbled and honored to have this lifetime opportunity to serve our community. So when you enter next chapter of your life now, I would like to give you a send-off with 10 reflections. You may remember some of them, which might work for you. They did for me. Number 1, follow 3 C's to have a meaningful impact in every situation and become a credible public servant. Communication, collaboration, and compassion. Number 2, trust and respect yourself. My mother gave me this advice during my difficult times. If you don't trust and respect yourself, how could others? I stuck with me forever. Number 3, respect different opinions. People will disagree with you. That does not mean they're your enemies. Those with different opinions will make you a better person, better worker, and a better leader. Number 4, dare to dream big and take risks. Follow your passion, be persistent, and above all, be a doer. Follow your ideals, but remain pragmatic. Success does not come overnight, it takes time. Number 5, do not presume. Stay engaged to check things by yourself. Number 6, be aware of your own biases and be willing to face them to make changes. It takes courage and strength of character to do so. Number 7, setbacks and failures are inevitable. Disappointments are reality of life. However, they provide you a window of opportunity to learn about something unique about yourself. Stay focused. Number 8, be honest with yourself and others, no matter how difficult it may be at times. It will help others to trust you and will help achieve your goals with integrity. Number 9, problems exist, so you can solve them. Number 10, which is last but not the least, don't just live to work. Find work-life balance. Take care of yourself and those around you to live life to the fullest with a big smile on your face so you can then work to the best of your ability. Congratulations, MPA class of 2021. All the best wishes to you on your next chapter of your life. Go and change the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta. As you probably know, the Athenian Oath is an important creed and icon around here, and it's a tradition to present to the keynote speaker a copy of the Athenian Oath for your home or your office. So here you go.
Thank you.
So the Department of Public Administration and International Affairs has an award called the Burkhead Award. It's named after the late Guthrie Burkhead, who was the 6th dean of the Maxwell School, and the late Jesse Burkhead, who was a professor of economics and public administration. The award recognizes teaching excellence by a faculty member in the department, and the selection is made by a committee of faculty and students. Last year's Burkhead recipient was Assistant Professor Catherine Mitchell-Moore. Before Kathy comes up to introduce this year's recipient, I'd like to say just a few words about her. Kathy has accepted a position at another university, which will allow her and her husband to finally live and work in the same place. As is evidenced by her own Burkhead Award, the reception she just got, and many other things, she has been an extremely valuable community member here at Maxwell for the last 5 years, and we will dearly miss her. However, we also wish her well. Kathy has been such a generous and capable contributor to everything we do here at Maxwell that it would be impossible not to miss her, but also impossible not to wish her the very best as she continues to do great things. Kathy?
Thank you. It gives me great pleasure to announce this year's winner of the Burkhead Teaching Excellence and Professorship Award. It was truly inspiring to read through the glowing nominations for this year's winner. Over and over again, students reported that this professor excelled in conveying complex material in an accessible, interesting way, challenging students while also providing the support to help students succeed. I was struck by how often I read students' accounts of this professor's accessibility, both in and out of the classroom, and how much time this professor spent helping students prepare for exams and projects. One student remarked about how this professor held an extra 2-hour office hour over the weekend to help students prepare for a final project. I was also struck by how often students mentioned how kind and patient this professor is, and how dedicated they were to helping students succeed. How this professor took the time to get to know students on an individual level, to make students feel comfortable, validating their questions and providing an inclusive space in the classroom. How this professor helped students not only learn the material, but also to believe in themselves that they could learn new, challenging material. Over and over again, students reported that this professor was one of the best professors that they had ever had, and how this professor helped them see the world in a different way. I could go on and on about all the glowing things that students had to say about this professor, but we would quite literally be here all day. So without further ado, I am pleased to announce that this year's winner of the Burkhead Teaching Excellence and Professorship Award is Dr. Pete Wilcoxon.
You guys caught on right away. It wouldn't do justice to this year if this ceremony went off without a hitch. That was our technical glitch. What a year, huh? To start over, for real this time, good morning, everyone. I'm deeply touched and honored to have been selected for this year's Burkhead Award. I'll say more about that in a minute, but first, I want to thank all of you here today for choosing to be part of the program this year. You came here knowing that we couldn't offer you the traditional in-person, on-campus experience that's been the hallmark of the MPA. Instead, you were signing up for something a complex hybrid version that we had never offered before. It was a big leap into the unknown for both you and us, and you have been awesome partners in making it work. The program is challenging under a normal year, but the degree of difficulty this year was much, much higher. You had to deal with masks, distancing, spotty Wi-Fi connections, classes that alternated between in-person, online sessions, disastrous computer failures, and bad audio. You even had to come to class on weekends and Labor Day. The pinnacle of craziness was in the fall when you had to hunt through the building to find a quiet place in a corridor to sign on to a class that was being held in person down the hall. And on top of that, Zoom meant that you had to invite us into your homes. We met your pets, your kids, sometimes your parents and significant others. We usually get to know people in the program pretty well, but this year took that to a whole new level. When you email us back in the future, there will never be a need to start by saying, you may not remember me, but I was in the program in 2021. In every respect, though, you guys were totally up to it. To take my classes just as an example, despite all the challenges, I covered more material and some more difficult topics than I'd covered before. I didn't have to cut anything at all. And so, special thanks to all of you for being part of the program in a very difficult year. To circle back to the Burkhead Award, it really means a lot to me because, frankly, last summer at this time, I was in an absolute blind panic about how I was going to teach this year. Before the pandemic, I had a system that worked pretty smoothly. My classes involve a lot of math, and I was used to writing it all on the whiteboard in real time. Since getting the hang of a lot of math is hard, I was also used to working with people one-on-one in office hours outside of class. The pandemic, with hybrid teaching and distancing, meant none of those were going to be possible. They're totally off the table. I was like a kid who somebody had taken away all their Legos, right? I had nothing to build on. And the word that kept running through my mind, I am not making this up, is Waterloo. I thought, it's the end. I could picture exactly how bad my classes would be if I didn't do something radically different. And on top of that, I knew that anything I did was going to be an experiment. You guys were beta testers, whether you wanted to be or not, because a lot of the things that we tried, we had never done before. And there was no way to be sure that they were going to work. So in the end, I redesigned big chunks of the way that I teach. It took a shocking number of late nights, frankly, but it made my classes significantly better. I'm planning to keep many of the changes even when we're back in fully in-person teaching. But of course, that's really just the story of the pandemic in miniature, isn't it? It disrupted practically everything, and it's forced the same kind of frantic reinvention on people across the board, everywhere. As a society, we've been forced to do some pretty radical experiments, and we learned some things that would take decades otherwise. On the plus side, we learned that remote work is actually much more successful than anyone had thought before. On the other side, we learned that online education, especially for low-income kids of color, can be monumentally worse than we thought. In my little area, we've even learned to think dramatically differently about the federal budget. Before this year, I would never have imagined we'd be talking about single bills with price tags in the trillions, with a T. But beyond all that, the pandemic unleashed forces that have led to wholesale reevaluation about how we see the world. It shook up the status quo, drew attention to things that have been given too little attention: inequality, racism, polarization, and misinformation. As you leave here, you'll be taking on new and difficult problems in a messy, uncertain, complex, and highly contested world. But with apologies to that distinguished philosopher, Stan Lee, the creator of Spider-Man, with great disruption comes great opportunity. like with my course. It will be an exciting time to be in the public sector. By upending decades of established practices and conventional wisdom, the pandemic has made room for new and better approaches. Developing them will not be easy. It will take a lot of hard work, compassion, persistence, and creativity. That is exactly the qualities that got you through this year. There are lots of hurdles ahead, but with all of you joining the front lines, I'm confident that we'll be able to get through this and transmit the city greater, better, and more beautiful than it was transmitted to us. Thank you again for being part of the program this year. Congratulations on all you achieved, and good luck with the challenges you'll be taking on. Thank you.
Okay, we're almost there. We're almost at the time where we recognize each of our graduates individually. But first I want to acknowledge some of the ways you have all contributed to the quality of our programs and the quality of life here at the Maxwell School, at Syracuse University, and in the city of Syracuse through our Graduate Student Organization. The Public Administration and International Relations Association, PIRA, is the official graduate student organization of the MPA and MAIR students. This year, as part of PIRA's founding mission to foster inclusiveness, citizenship, professional development, and cultural awareness, the organization supported a variety of student activities, including virtual networking events with Maxwell alumni. The organization raised nearly $2,000 for CNY Food Bank and local Syracuse nonprofits such as RISE and Elmcrest Children's Center. The organization hosted a number of successful volunteer nights at the food bank and sponsored several diversity, equity, and inclusion events. Finally, they partnered with Ukapapa, a nonprofit co-founded by one of this year's cohort's members, to sell banana bags that raise money for children in Zambia. Our students not only do tremendous good for their colleagues and for the community during their time here, but they also manage to have fun doing it. We're very proud to recognize your achievements over the past year. And now the part of the ceremony you've all been waiting for, when we recognize each of our graduates. You have come from all over the United States and all over the world. Some of you came to us freshly out of undergraduate studies, while others of you had substantial prior work experience. And many of you this year came from placements abroad with the Peace Corps and the Fulbright Fellows Program. Whatever your background, each of you have brought your own perspective. And that diversity of perspectives is a big part of what makes Maxwell such a special place. Each of you will now be recognized as your name is read by our faculty and staff as you walk across the stage. As we have a significant number of students joining us via live stream, we will be reading their names as well. So I think the students can start to gather here.
Janelle Akoba. Brian Aitken. Mohammed Al-Ghamdi. Zerlina Elise Bartholomew. Megan Beatty. Kezia Bentil. Melanie Berger. Nathaniel Birnbaum.
Zachary Blas. Maud Boateng. Ria Borden. Abigail Capella. Nicholas Capozzi. Ariel Cardiel. Sonwa Che. Pei-Ting Chen.
Jacqueline Chilbert. Frederick Sierri. Kyera Kaufman. Eva Colon. Colin Conrad. Nicholas Cook. Justin Crisafulli. Chloe DeRoche.
Patrick Dermody. Callie Dick. Natalie DeFlorio. Irene Domenico. Douglas Eberly. Brandy Effiong. Rashida El-Samahi. Andrew Etheridge. Cara Foley. Kidus Girma. Anna Goodell. Catherine Green. John Hamill. Lily Heigl. Karina Hendley. Sarah Hewitt.
Lara Hicks. Megan Hildebrand. Anastasia Hurt. Yuen Su. Ismail Ishuk. Haley Iverson. Jillian Janovic.
Tyra Jean. Christoph G. Angela Jumbeck. Marcel Kabir. Kate Kemmerer. Jasmine King. Grace Klein.
Wes Knowles. Diana Kaufman. Duyun Kwan. Joyce Lalonde. Emberlyn Leja. Zachary Levesque. Soroya Madlala.
Christopher Maldonado. Brenna Mason. Elizabeth McEldowney. Sean McLaughlin. Juliana Malara. Michaela Mendrala. Alexandra Mirzva.
Aaron Mooney. John Muckenfuss. Daniel Mulvanhill. Brenna Nadrowski. Parker Nash. Lila Nazarian. And Joseph Nesley.
Lucas Nettie. Lynn Wynn. Andrew Novak. Taylor Nunez. Troy Parker. Prachi Patel. Olivia Pianese.
Valerie Piatra. Stephanie Potts. Holly Radcliffe.
Suraj Ringanthanapal. Jared Robert. Senramith Sam. Austin Scheibmeyer. Brooke Schneider. Ainsley Schaff.
Brandon Sepulveda. Isaiah Sheffield Thurgood. Benjamin Schultz. Kathleen Smith. Tessa Sontheimer. Rebecca Tapio.
Mahan Tariq. Hannah Thoresen. Alec Travers. Lucas Vallely. Brian Vandenberg. Charlotte Volpe. Megan Wagner Flynn.
Andrew Warren. Matthew Whitmoyer. Gwyneth Widrick. David Wilcox. Va Yang. Nursultan Yashmukan. And Robert Zachariah.
So let's have one more round of applause for our graduates. In looking at your program, please note that the student address is named after Brady K. Howell, a member of the class of 2000 who lost his life on September 11, 2001, while working at his desk in the Office of Naval Intelligence at the Pentagon. 21 years ago today, Brady sat in one of your seats, and like you, had hopes and dreams that unfortunately were cut short on that fateful day. The faculty and staff named the student address after Brady, beginning with the 2000 graduating class, as a way to honor his memory. The Brady K. Howell student address will be given this year by Nate Birnbaum. Come on up, Nate. Nate is from Princeton, Massachusetts. He pursued an MPA degree at the Maxwell School part-time over the course of the last 3 years. As a part-time student, he also worked full-time on campus at the Institute for Veterans and Military Affairs. At the IVMF, Nate focuses on government relations and advocacy work, translating the Institute's research and programmatic experience into policy change in government. Nate was also an undergraduate in Syracuse University's Policy Studies program, from which he graduated in 2017. Nate?
Thank you, Professor Bifoco. Good afternoon, faculty, family, staff, graduates. My name is Nate Birnbaum. A lot of you probably don't know me because I've been doing this part-time. You can think of me as that very cool high school senior. It's been hanging around a little too long. All the teachers thought he graduated a couple years ago. So, actually, another fun fact, I'm actually getting married right here in exactly 13 months. Yeah, shout out. Yeah. Shout out, my fiance Joyce is in here, you know, and you're all invited. Yeah, no, just kidding, definitely can't afford that. We're going into public service, so. Anyways, I'd like to begin with a question. What will you do when you fail as a public administrator? And to be clear, I don't mean, in the sense of when you go into your first job and, you have your first failure and you get stronger and smarter and you move forward. That's not where I'm going with this. I mean, what will you do when you're at the end of your life and the social problems that you set out to fix are still there? What will you do when you fail? Because you are going to fail, okay? Let's break it down, right? So let's say one of you figures out how to make Syracuse City public transportation system more equitable and more robust. That's excellent, good job. There's also a lot of people who still don't have health care in this country. So let's say another one of you is the brilliant Hill staffer that finally figures out how to bring health care to every American family. That's fine, amazing. There's still climate change, okay? And let's say another one of you brings together the world and takes steps to curb climate change. That's great, but like in 1 billion years, the sun is gonna cool and expand and absorb the earth, and it's gonna wipe out all human life, so. The truth is, I don't say all this to fill you with existential dread. I say it to say that, the end of the world is happening right now. But instead of being overwhelmed by this, instead of feeling hopeless, we need to take a deep breath and get to work and figure out what comes next. This is our charge as public servants. We sought out this degree because we're interested in the impossible problems, the problems that can't be cured, only managed. If we were interested in easy questions like how to maximize profitability, we could have worn silk shirts and hung out with those kids down the road at the business school. But we chose Maxwell. We chose Maxwell knowing, yeah, right. We chose Maxwell knowing that, one day in some way we will fail. So what do we do about all this? Well, as I said, we get to work. None of us will be the ones that save this world, not alone. None of us will be at the center of this planet's healing. None of us will be the singular purveyors of justice. But at the same time, we all have a role to play, a critical role to play. As I said, one of you might be the brilliant staffer that finally is able to bring healthcare to every American. And one of you might be the consultant charged with figuring out how to use technology to get families enrolled in that healthcare. On its own, none of it will be the cure. None of it will ameliorate the world of all of its ills. But all of it is equally necessary. All of it is equally worthy. On this earth, the battle between justice and injustice is a massive game of tug-of-war. Not all of us will be the strongest ones in the back, but you better be somewhere in line on the side of justice, and you better be pulling your hardest. Because it's important to understand the reason for getting this degree, the reason for taking on society's toughest challenges, the reason to get up in the morning and get to work, the reason we do these things is not to achieve our goals. The reason we do it is because our goals are worth achieving. I once saw a poster that said, if our success was guaranteed, what bold steps might we take? I think that's a terrible poster, you know? I don't like that poster because to me, I mean, I get it, but to me, the better question is, if the apocalypse is happening now, if our failure is imminent, what work is still necessary? In a world of efficiency and outcome-oriented governance, our outcomes can never be our mission. As public administrators, we aren't guaranteeing success. Success is too complicated, too hard to achieve, too hard to measure, at least in our lifetimes. That's the point. Success isn't guaranteed. The only thing that we're guaranteed is the work. And so if knowing this, if knowing that you will probably fail, if knowing that no matter all your genius and hard work, and of which there is a lot in this room, I know that, and we still only move inches towards justice and healing in our lifetime, and this work is still enough for you, then your contribution will be enough. This is the answer. Find your role, find your contribution, be at peace with failure, but not resigned to it. Don't let apathy take over. Wake up and get to work. And maybe our individual failures will amount to collective success. Thank you.
Thanks, Nate. That was terrific. Each year, the Maxwell School identifies an alumnus from the public administration program to honor with an award at this convocation. This award, like the degree itself, comes with an obligation. We invite the recipient to receive the award and also to lead our new graduates in the recitation of the Athenian Oath and to officially welcome them to their new lives as Maxwell alumni. But before he fulfills his duty, I would like to say a few words about this year's Alumni Award winner, Frank Williams. Frank graduated magna cum laude from Howard University with a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. Upon graduation from Howard, he matriculated and received his master's degree in public administration from the Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs as a Woodrow Wilson Fellow. He is Senior Vice President of Global Commercial Banking at the Bank of America Merrill Lynch, where he manages banking relationships for a large portfolio of not-for-profit organizations in the area of health and education. He has also worked on issues of government bond financing, both in the banking sector and at the Standard & Poor's ratings agency. Frank takes seriously his sense of public duty and seeks to improve his community, making a difference where he was born, raised, and now resides in Washington, D.C. Frank graduated from Leadership Greater Washington in 2011 and now serves as that group's on that group's board of directors. Leadership Greater Washington unites the area's most visionary leaders to take on the region's toughest problems. Frank has served on numerous other boards, including the board of the DC Coalition for the Homeless, the Charter School Fund Credit Committee, the DC Advisory Board for the Posse Scholarship Foundation, which is responsible for identifying and training young people with extraordinary potential who might be missed by elite schools. And many of those students find their way into the field of public service. And he's also on the board of Step Africa, a dance company dedicated to the African American tradition of stepping. We are proud to count Frank as one of our own.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is hard to follow Nate, but it also shows the future is bright and that the Maxwell tradition lives well. So great, and it's a pleasure to be here with you all in person, to see so many smiling faces after being in my house working from home with multiple screens and shirt up here and everything else down there. So first time I wore a suit in a long time. So good to be here, always good to come back to Maxwell. Always good to see friends old and new, and appreciate the opportunity to come in front of you. So it is now noon. I know that you're ready to move forward. I'm sure many of you all have packed up trucks, ready to go back to where you're going or moving to. And so it is my honor and duty to share a couple things with you before I say the oath. First of all, I would be remiss if I didn't thank my family for their love and support over the last number of years. As you all know, I'm in the private sector now, but everyone in my family, as I was growing up in my immediate family, was a public servant. And so I always knew the value, the promise, and the power of public service, and thought I would venture into that in my future, but my path was a little bit different. So we do still work with those organizations with the work that I do with Bank of America. Secondly, I'd like to thank my wife and my son for supporting me, allowing me to be here today, because today is June 30th, while it's the end of your program and the end of your lease, it is also my anniversary. So they allowed me to be here today. So only for you guys, I get a pass. And then for a lot of you all that we'll see in the future, it's the end of the fiscal year for a lot of organizations. So a lot of books are closing this year for you all going forward. So this date is not only a graduation date, but in the future, this will be a hard working date as you try to help close fiscal year ends for a lot of your organizations. Next, I'd like to thank my classmates from 1994. Time really does fly. My good friend Bob and I were in the same class many years ago. So good to see him. And I have to have a special shout out to my roommate, Marcus Walker, who actually went to Howard undergrad with me and was my roommate here at Syracuse. So we went through the war together all the way through. So I do have to thank him for his support over the years, as well as my classmates. Now, let me share with you the words that have been shared with every Maxwell class as you go into the world and in your academic journey here. The word work begins now. This is the end of the academic work, but your professional career now starts or jump starts. So make the difference that everybody talked about today, because I know you can do it, and you've proven that if you've gotten through this course through this program, and this year in particular, these words are more important than ever and live truly in you all with regard to the trials, tribulations, and now the ascension to getting this degree that you so earnestly have worked towards and deserve. So with that being said, I will pass on the Athenian oath, which reads, "We will ever strive for the ideals and sacred things of the city, both alone and with many. We will unceasingly seek to quicken the sense of public duty. We will revere and obey the city's laws. We will transmit this city not less, but greater, better, and more beautiful than it was transmitted to us." So go forth, do well, and congratulations.
Thanks, Frank. And Frank, of course, also gets an oath. Okay, I would be remiss if I did not thank our incredible public administration and international affairs staff for all the hard work that they do, both in planning this event and during the whole course of the year. Please join me in recognizing two people who have played a key role in your decision to come here and your success while you were here. Director of Admissions and Financial Aid, Chris Omolino, and Associate Director of Student Services, Josh Kennedy. So Chris deserves some special words here today, as she will be retiring in September after 25 years at Maxwell. Chris has been responsible for bringing to Maxwell an entire generation of students and now alumni. And for many of these cohorts, she was also responsible for seeing them successfully through the program. In this role, Chris has had as profound an effect on the Maxwell MPA program as any single person. And certainly, she has more close personal relationships with members of the Maxwell Mafia than anyone. And many of those alumni will be the first to tell you how warm and caring Chris has been for them and how important she has been to their success in the program. She is very near the center of the Maxwell Mafia. And because she is herself an MPA alumni, we hope that she'll remain very near that center. We will miss her here in many ways, but also wish her very well in her future endeavors. Next, I'd like to thank Ken Dwyer, Christy Vega, Stephanie Williams, and Heather Macknick for the exceptional job they do in all facets of the program throughout the year. And Christy deserves special thanks for her leadership and hard work to plan and pull off this convocation ceremony in the face of a lot of uncertainty. I also want to acknowledge the dedicated career and alumni services staff, Kelly Young, Isaac Olson, Alexandra Bennett, Lauren Meyer, and Jessica Walcott Murray. An academic program is only as good as its faculty. Please stand, guys. As you guys clearly recognize, this is an amazing group of teachers and scholars and colleagues, and I want to thank them for their commitment to the Maxwell School, to Syracuse University, and to the field of public administration. Thank you. So I hope that your time spent at the Maxwell School will serve you well in the years to come. You have made many friends that will last a lifetime. And friends are important, but those same things that bind you to your friends also unites you with the Maxwell alumni. By using the skills and knowledge that you've learned here at Maxwell, you will, to paraphrase the Athenian Oath one last time, make the city greater than it was transmitted to you and become part of the soul of the Maxwell School. On behalf of all of us here on the stage and the faculty and staff who could not be here today, it has been a pleasure to get to know you all over the past year. We can't wait to see the amazing things you accomplish, and we hope you'll keep in touch. As Dean Van Slyke said, we'd love to hear you brag. It's the best part of the job, so please let us know how you're doing. And now, how about one more round of applause for the 2021 graduating class. Okay, so we will recess as follows. The official party on stage will leave first. Students will follow row by row from the back to the front. I ask the guests to remain in place until all the students have recessed. For our family and friends attending virtually, I invite the students to take a look at the camera, smile, and wave. And I invite all of you to a reception honoring the students right outside here in Shaw Quadrangle, where you can enjoy some light refreshments. The 2021 Public Administration Convocation is now adjourned.
Congratulations, class of 21. I think you should all get an extra 3 credits just for making it through the year. And all the best for all your future endeavors.
Hi all. Back in May, Christy told me that I'd have a chance to send a shout out to all of you at Convocation. I said, sweet! I'll do that as soon as I take my shower. It's June now, and I just want to say, well done, guys. You had a great semester. It was great getting to know you, and best of luck as you go forward. See ya.
Well, it's been a heck of a year, but you made it through it, all of it. And congratulations to you and to your family and to your support group who helped you get through it all. And welcome to the Maxwell Network.
Congratulations! Well done, everyone. You did it. We're so proud of you. Go forward boldly. Use your powers for good.
Congratulations on your impressive accomplishments during a very difficult year. You've earned this and all the good things to come.
Congratulations, graduates. I can't wait to see what exciting things you do next.
Congratulations, everyone. We hope that you've already started celebrating and with the background as beautiful as this lake.
Hope you're looking forward to an amazing summer. Our heartiest congratulations. You've done an amazing job.
A billion cicadas join me in wishing you a hearty congratulations. Go do amazing things.
Morning. I just wanted to add my congratulations along with the other faculty members for the great accomplishment that all of you have done this past year in achieving your MPA degree as you prepare to head out the door and graduate. This year has been different than any other, and you all ought to be very, very proud of what you've done since arriving here last summer, getting your way through the pandemic and all the classes and all the other circumstances that you had to deal with near and far, the virtual classes, the in-person classes, and all the rest of it. But you ought to be very proud of what you've done and the lifetime achievement that you have in terms of being an MPA graduate from the Maxwell School here. All of us in the faculty and the staff and beyond look forward to watching you go forward and thrive in so many different dimensions of public administration, so many different areas of public service as you go into the future. So most of all, hearty congratulations, well done, go get them, and we look forward to watching you thrive.
Hey everybody, it's been a pretty taxing year in more ways than one, but you made it through with style and grace. Congratulations and good luck.
Congratulations, class of 2021. I'm convinced that each of you has been made with a purpose, and I've enjoyed the opportunity to join you at Maxwell as you explored it. Blessings in your next chapter.